Near and Light are the major rivals in the second half of the series of Death Note. Light attempting to escape capture once again and Near managing to finally capture Kira in the end. So who is smarter? Let's find out. The first section is Spatial and the first section is Observation of Materials. Light seems to take this able to identify specific components to use and how they work together, such as with the bus jacking identifying all the elements at play. Light takes this with hard difficulty. Next is Observations of Space. Near seems to take this as he often uses his awareness of his surroundings to understand what is at hand, such as figuring out who Kira was or determining how to get out of the SBK headquarters when he was under attack. Near takes this with medium difficulty. Last is Puzzle Solving Skills. This is really close, but it seems to favor Near slightly more, as his deduction of the combined information are typically more consistent, where Light might sometimes not pay attention certain times when he could have better abilities in this area than Near. Near takes this with hard difficulty. Near 1 more point, so he gets the total points of 22 points and Light with 4 points. Next is Intrapersonal, and the first category is Understanding Your Own Intentions. This is really close, as they both have good understandings of what they want done and at the same time have overlooked information as well. Light typically overlooks things because of his ego, but when he sets that aside he typically gets the full picture, where Near is always egoless and still seems to overlook things such as the possibility of Light creating a fake notebook himself. This suggests this favors Light, who takes this with hard difficulty. Next is Understanding What You Will Do. For similar reasons this is really close, but still favors Light, who has a higher caliber of knowing what he wants done as well as slightly more consistency. Light takes this with hard difficulty. Next is Understanding Your Limitations. This is close once again. Light understands he can't move freely with the task force watching over him, so he switches the notebook's ownership so someone else can do his work, while Near knows that Kira has a supernatural power that he has to work within and around in order to solve the case and capture Kira. This seems to favor Near, as he typically always accounts for his limitations while Light sometimes overlooks them, which gets him in trouble sometimes. Near takes this with hard difficulty. Next is Understanding Your Knowledge. This is close, but Light seems to take this as he has a better grasp of what he knows compared to Near, who had plenty of information but still overlooked a lot. Light takes this with medium difficulty. Next is Adaptability. This is really close, as both characters have moments where they have to adjust quickly or risk being caught and or killed. Near was able to react quickly to his base being under attack, and Light was able to figure out a way to avoid suspicion in his memory loss plan after being accused of being the prime suspect. Hard to say, but Light seems to etch this out slightly with somewhat more impressive adapting situations. Light takes this with hard difficulty. Last is Emotional Control, which easily goes to Near, as he is always cool under pressure even in the face of death, where Light loses his cool very often, which leads to irrational actions. Near takes this with easy difficulty. Light 1 more point, so he gets the total points of 20 points and Near with 7 points. Next is Linguistics, and surprisingly this is fairly close, as though Near may not be too social, he does convey himself very well. However, on the other hand, Light simply knows exactly what he's doing when speaking, never being misunderstood and always being convincing except for after being caught. Light takes all these with hard difficulty, giving him the total points of 19 points and Near with a 0. Next is Bodily Kinetics, and this easily goes to Light for obvious reasons, who is physically active and does active things a lot, where Near is almost never seen moving other than his hands. Light takes this with easy difficulty, giving him the total points of 21 and Near with a 0. Next is Interpersonal, and the first category is Understanding Others' Intentions. This is really close, as both Near and Light were able to figure out the idea of what both were intending to do and attempting to finish each other off at a meeting. However, Light understood it slightly better, so this would suggest it goes to Light, who takes this with hard difficulty. Next is Understanding What Others Will Do. For similar reasons, Light takes this one, knowing exactly how Near would act, while Near didn't consider the full scope of what Light was planning till Mello revealed it. Light takes this with medium difficulty. Next is Understanding Others' Limitations. This is really close, as mentioned in Interpersonal. These two understand their own limitations fairly well, but they also do so in the same way with each other. For similar reasons, Light seems to take this one, as Near overlooked the possibility of Light creating his own fake notebook, while Light knew how Near could have won, but didn't prevent it because he knew Near would overlook it. Light takes this with hard difficulty. Last is Understanding Others' Knowledge. This goes to Light, who knew what Near knew and also knew that he would overlook the possibility of a fake notebook. Light takes this with medium difficulty. Light 1 more point, so he takes the overall points, giving him a total of 30 points and Near with 0 points. Next is Existential, and this easily goes to Near, who has more consistent beliefs and that he thinks everyone should think for themselves and determine what they think is right without forcing it onto others. Near takes these with easy difficulty, giving him the total points of 14 points and Light with a 0. Next is Logical, and the first category is Gathering of Information. This goes to Near, who was able to gather a lot of information about Kira and his whereabouts, able to narrow him down and figure out almost all about him very quickly, while Light lacked a lot of information regarding Near up until the end. Near takes this with hard difficulty. Next is Deductions of Information. This is really close, but it surprisingly favors Light, who was able to make greater deductions than Near did, such as determining Kira might be amongst Yotsuba, while Near overlooked the deduction of the possibility of there being a fake notebook. Leading up to the final confrontation, Light takes this with hard difficulty. Last is how the information is used. This is really close, as Near used the information present to him, even using other people's knowledge for his own gain, while Light had greater scaling of planning. He did hinder himself in some ways. However, Light seems to etch this out because it was of his own choice to hinder himself, where Near simply overlooked some information. Light takes this with hard difficulty. Light 1 more point, so he gets the total points of 27 points and Near with 4 points. Next is Musical, and Near takes all these categories with medium difficulty. Able to recognize voices such as Mikami's while listening to multiple monitors at once, and able to figure out who Kira is because of it. Light does use multiple monitors, but it's not to the same degree of Near. Near got all the points, so he takes the total points of 20 points and Light with a 0. The last section is Naturalist, and the first category is Understanding of Elements. Near doesn't have any real indications of knowing of elements other than his teachings in Wami's house, while Light was actively shown creating his own trap with engineering skills as well as perfect grades in school. Light takes this with easy difficulty. Next is Understanding of how elements work together. For similar reasons to the previous point, Light takes this one, actually showing an understanding of how things work together and creating his own trap. Light takes this with easy difficulty. Last is Understanding Animal Nature. This is close, but it seems to favor Near, as he used his understanding of this against Light plenty of times in getting the task force to reveal information to calm their suspicions, as well as using Light's ego against him the entire time they knew each other. Near takes this with hard difficulty. Light 1 more points, giving him the total points of 23 points and Near with 4 points. In the end, this had many close calls, but at the same time it also had very big differences. Light managed to beat Near, gaining 144 points and Near with 77. The categories were very close, but there were categories which Light won with an overwhelming gap compared to Near, who won most of the time with a slight edge. Light won, so he will be moving on to the next round. What did you think of this video? Do you agree with the results, or do you think there needs to be some adjustments made? Let me know what you think in the comments.